I need to see some ID.
I live here. I'm literally washing my car in my own driveway.
Right. Just cooperate and we'll be done here.
I'm Sergeant Darnell Whitmore. I'm sure you recognize the name.
Derek Patterson sits at the defendant's table in the Civil Service Commission hearing room. Age 34, civilian clothes, no uniform anymore. His union representative shuffles papers beside him, both knowing what's coming. Patterson's face is drawn, exhausted, the face of a man watching his career end in real time. The commissioner's voice cuts through the silence, authoritative and final. Officer Patterson, this commission has reviewed the evidence, the body camera footage, the witness testimony from Mrs. Dorothy Hughes, the statistical analysis of your 1,247 stops over 6 years, revealing a 4.7 times racial disparity. The pattern is undeniable. Patterson stares at the table. He knows. The question we keep returning to is simple, the commissioner continues. How did one Saturday afternoon, 14 minutes, destroy an 8-year career? What happened? The camera holds on Patterson's face, the weight of consequence, the realization that it's over. I need to see some ID. Whose car is this? Marcus Williams set down his sponge and turned slowly toward the patrol car now blocking his driveway. Saturday afternoon, June 17, 2023. Sunshine warm on his Tesla's hood. He'd just finished coaching his daughter's soccer game. This was his home, his driveway, his car. It's my car, officer. I live here. Can I ask why you've pulled into my driveway? The officer stepped closer, hand instinctively near his service weapon. Not threatening, exactly, just authority. I'm the one asking questions. ID, now. Marcus kept his voice calm, measured. 18 years as a cop taught him how to read situations. This officer was young, confident, used to compliance, and Marcus already recognized the pattern he'd seen 200 times in internal affairs case files. I understand, but I also understand the Fourth Amendment. You need reasonable suspicion to demand identification. What's your reasonable suspicion? Silence. The officer's jaw tightened. You're being difficult right now. That's giving me reasonable suspicion. Marcus pulled out his phone, held it up, started recording. Actually, officer, asserting constitutional rights isn't reasonable suspicion. It's protected activity. So I'll ask one more time. What specific crime do you believe I'm committing? The officer's hand moved to his handcuffs. His voice hardened. Last chance before you go in cuffs. This is the moment. June 17th, 2023. 2:47 p.m., 1247 Riverside Drive, Oakmont neighborhood. A sunny Saturday afternoon, temperature 78 degrees, moderate breeze. Marcus Williams washing his Tesla Model Y in his own driveway, a car he'd saved years to buy. His wife, Jennifer, inside the house preparing for their family barbecue. Their daughters, ages 9 and 12, had just finished soccer practice. Their bikes were visible in the garage. The name Williams clearly marked the mailbox. Everything about this scene said homeowner, family man, ordinary weekend activity. But to Officer Derek Patterson, 34 years old, 8 years on the Metropolitan Police Department District 4 patrol, something didn't fit. Here's what Patterson saw. Black male, athletic clothing, no visible professional attire, expensive vehicle, Tesla Model Y, approximately $60,000, upscale neighborhood, median home value $385,000. In Patterson's experience, this combination triggered an instinct. Doesn't belong here. Worth investigating. He'd made this calculation before. 1,247 times over 6 years, and 71.4% of those stops, black individuals, in a district where the population was 31% black, a disparity of 4.7 times the population percentage. But Patterson didn't know that analysis existed yet. He just knew his gut told him something was off, and his gut had always been protected. Until today, Patterson didn't know 3 critical things about the man standing in that driveway. Advantage number 1, Marcus Williams wasn't just a homeowner exercising constitutional rights. He was a cop, 18 years with the Metropolitan Police Department, decorated, Medal of Valor in 2015, Community Service Awards in 2018 and 2021, bachelor's degree in criminal justice, master's in public administration. Advantage number 2, Marcus Williams wasn't just any cop, he was a sergeant, Internal Affairs Division, badge number 2847, the division that investigates other officers, the sergeant who'd spent 6 years reviewing excessive force cases and racial profiling allegations, over 200 cases. Advantage number 3, Marcus Williams knew the law. He could cite Terry v. Ohio from memory. He understood reasonable suspicion versus probable cause. He knew exactly what questions to ask to expose an officer who couldn't articulate legal justification, and Patterson was about to fail every single one, on camera. This wasn't Patterson's first complaint. Year 1, 2015. Complaint filed by a 28-year-old black male. Allegation, discourtesy during traffic stop, refusal to explain legal basis. Finding, unfounded. Reviewed and dismissed by Lieutenant Brian Kowalski, Patterson's supervisor. Year 2, 2016. Complaint from a 31-year-old Hispanic male. Improper vehicle search without consent. Not sustained. Year 3, 2017. Complaint from a 45-year-old black male. High school principal. Excessive questioning. No legal basis. Exonerated. Year 4, 2018. Complaint from a 52-year-old black male, attorney. Racial profiling. Insufficient evidence. Year 5, 2019. 2 complaints. Black female, age 29. Black male, age 38. Both unfounded within 2 weeks. Year 6, 2020. Hispanic male, age 41. Intimidation tactics. Not sustained. Year 7, 2021. Black male, age 50. Business owner. Improper ID demand. Closed. Year 8, 2022, black male, age 33, stop without suspicion, status at time of Williams incident, pending, 9 complaints, 8 years. 8 of the 9 involved black or Hispanic individuals, 7 specifically cited lack of reasonable suspicion or racial profiling, and every single one dismissed by Lieutenant Kowalski. But here's what should have changed everything. 14 months before this Saturday afternoon, April 2022, the Metropolitan Police Department's early warning system flagged Officer Derek Patterson. 3 complaints in 6 months. Department protocol required immediate action, formal review, mandatory intervention. The alert went to Lieutenant Kowalski. His response, manual override. 1 line of justification. Proactive policing strategy in high crime areas. Officers' methods effective based on arrest numbers. No review, no intervention, no consequences. But the system logged everything, every override, every dismissed complaint, and Marcus Williams, as an internal affairs sergeant, had access to all of it. So when Patterson demanded ID without justification, when he threatened arrest for asserting constitutional rights, when he reached for his handcuffs, he wasn't just confronting a homeowner who knew the law. He was confronting the one person in the entire department with the authority, the expertise, and the institutional access to destroy him. What happens in the next 14 minutes will trigger a 7-week investigation. It will expose those 9 ignored complaints. It will reveal stop data so damning. 1,247 stops, 71.4% black, 4.7 times disparity, that it becomes a statistical smoking gun. It will uncover an email from Lieutenant Kowalski proving the department knew about Patterson's pattern and chose to protect him anyway. It will destroy 2 careers. It will cost the city $185 million. It will become training material in 23 police academies nationwide. And it will force a question nobody in the department wanted to answer. If the system flagged him 14 months ago, if 9 people complained over 8 years, if the statistical pattern was this obvious, why did it take an internal affairs sergeant getting profiled in his own driveway for anyone to finally act? But before we show you those 14 minutes, there's one more person you need to know about. Across the street from Marcus Williams' house, Mrs. Dorothy Hughes was sitting on her front porch reading. Age 67, retired history teacher, 40 years in the Oakmont neighborhood. She'd welcomed Marcus and Jennifer Williams 3 weeks earlier with homemade cookies and information about the local schools. When she looked up and saw a patrol car pull into the Williams driveway, blocking it in, aggressive stance, something felt wrong. The officer's body language, the way he approached, no friendly wave, just authority without justification. Dorothy quietly set down her book, pulled out her smartphone, and pressed record. 14 minutes and 23 seconds of uninterrupted video. She had no idea that footage would become evidence in a federal civil rights lawsuit. She just knew something wasn't right. Drop a comment right now. Tell us where you're watching from. Hit that subscribe button, because if you've ever been stopped without reasonable suspicion, this investigation will answer your questions. You're about to see how documentation, knowledge of constitutional law, and one person's refusal to be intimidated can expose an entire system's failure. Officer Derek Patterson had been on patrol for 3 hours that Saturday. No calls for service. Slow day. He decided to cruise through Oakmont, what he called proactive policing. When he turned onto Riverside Drive, the Tesla caught his eye immediately. High-value vehicle. Nice neighborhood, but the person washing it, Patterson's brain made the calculation in seconds. 8 years of experience told him, this doesn't fit. He pulled into the driveway, blocking the Tesla, exited his vehicle. No greeting. Body camera activated automatically. A detail Patterson barely registered anymore. He approached with purpose. Afternoon, I need to see some ID. Not a request, a command. In Patterson's experience, most people complied immediately. The ones who didn't, they had something to hide. Marcus Williams paused mid-scrub, set down his sponge deliberately. Slow, non-threatening movement. Turned toward the officer. 18 years of police work told him everything he needed to know. Young officer. Patrol division. Confident. Hand near weapon. No smile. pure command presence. Marcus immediately recognized the pattern he'd seen 200 times: stop without justification, demand compliance, escalate if challenged. He chose his words carefully. "Good afternoon, officer. Can I ask what this is regarding? I'm just washing my car in my own driveway." Polite, respectful, establishing context. The officer stepped closer. "I'm not asking again. ID, now, and registration for the vehicle." Escalation. Refused to answer the question. Doubled down. Marcus noted it, kept his voice calm. "Officer, I'm happy to cooperate, but I need to understand the legal basis for your ID request. What reasonable suspicion do you have that I'm engaged in criminal activity?" This is the moment Patterson should have recognized the trap. Any officer with solid legal justification can articulate it in seconds. "Your vehicle matches a stolen vehicle report. I observed a traffic violation." Specific, articulable, factual. Patterson had none of that. His jaw tightened. "The reasonable suspicion is I'm conducting an investigation. You're being uncooperative right now. That's suspicious behavior." Marcus immediately caught the circular logic. Being uncooperative because I asked for legal basis? That's not reasonable suspicion. That's retaliation. "Officer, under Terry v's Ohio, you need articulable, reasonable suspicion of a specific crime. I'm on my own property, washing my own vehicle. What crime do you suspect me of committing?" "Don't lawyer me," Patterson snapped. "I know the law. You're in a high-value vehicle in this neighborhood. I need to verify it's not stolen. That's my job." Marcus noted the language. "In this neighborhood." The implication was clear, and the justification still insufficient. The vehicle had current tags, visible on the license plate. No bolo. The person was clearly at the residence. No reasonable suspicion. Patterson was fishing. Marcus pulled his phone from his pocket. Slow movement. Held it up clearly. "I'm going to document this encounter for both our protection." Translation: "You're violating my rights. I'm creating evidence." "Officer, can you provide your name and badge number?" This was the moment Patterson should have stopped. Instead, he saw the phone as a threat. "Put that phone down!" His hand moved to his handcuffs. "You're creating a hostile situation. I can detain you for obstruction." Marcus kept the phone steady, voice calm, almost eerily calm. "Officer, I'm not obstructing anything. I'm exercising my First Amendment right to record police activity. Your body camera is recording as well, correct?" The mention of body camera seemed to catch Patterson off guard. His eyes flicked briefly, as if remembering, but he'd already committed, and his ego wouldn't let him back down. "Last chance," Patterson said, hands still on cuffs. "ID and registration now, or you're going in cuffs for obstruction and resisting." Across the street, Mrs. Dorothy Hughes zoomed in her camera, capturing Patterson's aggressive stance, Marcus's calm demeanor. 3 cameras now running, every word documented. Marcus Williams made a calculation. Patterson was about to put hands on him, about to handcuff him, and once that happened, the violation became aggravated. So Marcus gave him one chance. His voice stayed calm, professional, but the authority shifted. "Officer Patterson," Marcus had noted the nameplate, "before you do something you're going to regret, I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm Sergeant Marcus Williams, Internal Affairs Division, Metropolitan Police Department, badge number 2847. The color drained from Patterson's face. "And this entire encounter, your approach without legal basis, your demand for ID without articulable, reasonable suspicion, your threat to arrest me for asserting constitutional rights, is being documented. On your body camera, on my phone, and on my neighbor's phone across the street." Marcus gestured slightly toward Mrs. Hughes, who gave a small wave. Phone still recording. Patterson's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Sergeant, you weren't in uniform." "Uniform is irrelevant to reasonable suspicion, Officer Patterson. The Fourth Amendment doesn't have a dress code exception. You need specific, articulable facts suggesting criminal activity. You have none. I strongly suggest you radio your supervisor right now." Patterson's hands were visibly shaking as he keyed his radio. Lieutenant Kowalski, I need you to respond to 1247 Riverside Drive. I need supervision." The radio crackled. Lieutenant Brian Kowalski's voice came through, irritated. "What's the situation, Patterson?" Patterson glanced at Marcus, then away. Couldn't make eye contact. "It's complicated. Just need you here, sir." Marcus stepped closer to the patrol car, spoke clearly toward the radio. "Lieutenant Kowalski, this is Sergeant Marcus Williams, Internal Affairs Division. Officer Patterson conducted a stop of me without reasonable suspicion in violation of department policy and the Fourth Amendment. I'll need your supervisory response for documentation purposes." Silence on the radio, long silence, then 10-4, en route, ETA 12 minutes. Patterson retreated to his squad car, sat inside, wouldn't look at Marcus. Marcus picked up his sponge and returned to washing his car. Power move. Message clear. "You interrupted my Saturday. I'm finishing what I started." 12 minutes of excruciating silence. Lieutenant Brian Kowalski arrived in an unmarked vehicle. age 52, 28 years on the force, 18 months from retirement with full pension. He exited and immediately recognized Sergeant Marcus Williams. They'd been in a supervisory meeting together 3 months prior. His face went pale. He approached Marcus, not Patterson. Damage control mode. Sergeant Williams, I'm sure there's been some kind of misunderstanding here. Marcus cut him off. Professional, but firm. No misunderstanding, Lieutenant. Officer Patterson conducted an unlawful stop. He demanded ID without reasonable suspicion. He threatened to arrest me for asserting constitutional rights. My formal written complaint will be filed Monday morning at 800 hours. Officer Patterson should prepare a detailed written statement articulating his reasonable suspicion for this stop. I'll expect your supervisory review by end of business Wednesday. Marcus handed Kowalski his internal affairs business card. Kowalski's hand trembled slightly as he took it. Sergeant, I'm certain we can work this out without... There's nothing to work out, Lieutenant. A constitutional violation occurred. It's documented. It will be investigated. Marcus turned, walked back to his house, and closed the door. Kowalski stood in the driveway, holding the card, watching his career calculations crumble. Monday morning, 8 a.m. sharp. Sergeant Marcus Williams walked into the Professional Standards Division and filed his formal complaint. 3-page written statement, precise, legally detailed, unimpeachable, attached, audio recording from his phone, Mrs. Hughes's contact information, reference to Patterson's body camera footage with timestamp. The complaint landed on the desk of Captain Rachel Mendez, age 46. 22 years with the department, commander of professional standards. Captain Mendez had a reputation, data-driven, incorruptible, thorough to the point of relentlessness. She'd previously exposed 2 officers for pattern stops involving racial profiling. Both were terminated. Both cases became training material. When she saw Marcus Williams's name, an internal affairs sergeant, and then saw the defendant's name, Officer Derek Patterson, she cross-referenced it against the complaint database. 9 previous complaints, all filed against Officer Derek Patterson, all dismissed by Lieutenant Brian Kowalski. Captain Mendez picked up her phone and dialed the chief's office. Chief Torres, I need to brief you on something. We have a problem. Week 1. Captain Mendez requested all video evidence. Patterson's body camera, 14 minutes, 41 seconds, everything recorded. Marcus's phone recording, 7 minutes, 18 seconds of crystal clear audio. Patterson's exact words, "Don't lawyer me, you're in a high-value vehicle in this neighborhood." Mrs. Hughes's video, 14 minutes, 23 seconds. Complete encounter from third-party perspective, time-stamped, geotagged, unedited. 3 sources, 3 angles, 1 undeniable truth. Week 2. Captain Mendez didn't just review the complaints. She interviewed the complainants, something Lieutenant Kowalski never did. Complainant number 1, Jerome Matthews, age 28, accountant. He pulled me over, said I had a broken taillight. I got out to check. Taillight was fine. When I pointed that out, he got angry. Made me sit on the curb for 20 minutes. Clean record, no ticket, no apology. Kowalski's finding, unfounded. Complainant number 4, David Chen, age 52, attorney. I know my rights. He couldn't articulate any reason for the stop. When I asked for reasonable suspicion, he said I fit the description. I asked what description. He couldn't provide specifics. Never heard back. Just a letter months later saying insufficient evidence. Kowalski's finding, officer's discretion. 8 of 9 complainants, black or Hispanic. 7 of 9 specifically cited lack of reasonable suspicion. None interviewed by Kowalski. All dismissed within 2 to 4 weeks with identical boilerplate language. The pattern was undeniable. Week 3, Captain Mendez ordered a complete data pull. Every stop Officer Patterson made in 6 years. The analyst spent 4 days compiling the data. When the spreadsheet came back, Captain Mendez read it 3 times. Total stops by Officer Derek Patterson, 2017, 2023, 1,247. Black individuals, 890 stops, 71.4%. Hispanic individuals, 227 stops, 18.2%. White individuals, 111 stops, 8.9%. District 4 population demographics, 31% black, 18% Hispanic, 42% white. Captain Mendez ran the disparity analysis. Black stops, 4.7 times the population percentage. White stops, 0.21 times. The Department of Justice guidelines are clear. 2x warrants concern, 3x indicates clear pattern. Patterson was at 4.7x, but the data got worse. Outcome analysis, 43% of Patterson's stops produced no citation, no warning, no arrest, nothing. He was fishing. And of the 298 arrests Patterson made, prosecutors dropped 48% before trial. Patterson's conviction rate, 52%. Department average, 81%. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been pulled over and the officer couldn't really explain why? Have you ever been stopped, questioned, searched, and then just sent on your way with no citation, no explanation? Drop a comment right now. Tell us about it, because Patterson made 537 of these stops. 537 people who did nothing wrong. Your experience matters. Week 4. Captain Mendez found it. An email dated July 14, 2022. From Lieutenant Kowalski to his predecessor. Officer Patterson is one of our most proactive officers. The complaints primarily come from individuals who don't understand that proactive policing isn't discrimination. It's effective crime prevention. I've found zero evidence of racial animus. Recommendation: continued support. The predecessor captain's response: maintain close monitoring. If pattern continues, formal review required. Mendez checked Kowalski's supervision logs. No additional monitoring documented. 9 months later, when the early warning system flagged Patterson, Kowalski manually overrode it. Week 6. Patterson's interview with Captain Mendez. Union rep present. Recording active. Officer Patterson, what was your reasonable suspicion to stop Sergeant Williams? The vehicle value, the individual's attire didn't match typical homeowner profile. Define typical homeowner profile. Pause. I mean, the neighborhood is generally what? The individual seemed out of place. A black man washing a Tesla seems out of place in a neighborhood that's 31% black? I wasn't profiling. I had legitimate concerns. The registration was current, correct? Yes. Was there a bolo? No, but was he behaving suspiciously? No, he was washing the car, but what was the specific, articulable, reasonable suspicion? Long silence. It was based on my instincts. Can you articulate a single specific fact suggesting criminal activity? Silence. No, I can't. Fatal admission. Recorded. Week 7. Captain Mendez delivered her 63-page report to Chief Torres. Constitutional violation. Pattern of discriminatory policing. 4.7x disparity. Supervisory failure. Systemic oversight deficiency. Recommendations. Terminate Patterson. Demote Kowalski. Comprehensive reform. Week 9. Disciplinary hearing. Patterson sat with his union rep, weight loss visible, dark circles under his eyes. The union presented error in judgment, no malicious intent, request retraining. Captain Mendez presented the body camera footage. 14 minutes of Patterson, unable to articulate reasonable suspicion. The statistical analysis. The 9 complaints. The smoking gun email. Patterson's own admission. I can't articulate a single specific fact. The panel deliberated 4 hours. Decision. Unanimous termination. Chief Torres read the finding. You violated the Fourth Amendment. You conducted a stop without reasonable suspicion. Our investigation reveals an 8-year pattern affecting hundreds of citizens. You are hereby terminated effective immediately. Patterson removed his badge, placed it on the table. 28 minutes later, he walked out as a civilian. 8 years gone. Week 22. Post-certification revoked. Derek Patterson's name added to the state's decertified officers list. Unemployable in law enforcement permanently. Month 7. Federal lawsuit filed. Williams versus Patterson, City of Metropolitan. Claims: Fourth Amendment violation, racial profiling, 42 U.S.C. Perv. 1983. Damages sought: $2.8 million. Month 10. Settlement: $1.85 million total. $850K to Marcus Williams, $500K Community Police Relations Fund, $500K new training curriculum. City total cost, $2.19 million. Patterson's life unraveled. Post revoked. 14 job applications rejected. Wife filed for separation. Month 14, bankruptcy. Month 16, moved to Tennessee. Month 18, divorced warehouse supervisor, $42K annually, starting over at 36 in exile. The settlement wasn't just money, it was transformation. Early warning system 2.0, automated, no supervisor override, independent civilian review board with subpoena power, statistical transparency with quarterly public reports, implicit bias training overhauled to 24 hours annually. The Patterson case became cornerstone module. Body camera accountability with random audits. Performance evaluations now include constitutional policing metric worth 25%. Results after 18 months. Complaints down 34%. Sustained complaints up 127%. System now works. Community trust up 28 points. Stop disparities reduced to 1.8x from 3.2x. 23 police academies nationwide adopted the Patterson case for training. Sergeant Marcus Williams, promoted to lieutenant. Officer of the Year awards. Established Williams Foundation for Constitutional Policing. National Speaker, 34 engagements. Congressional testimony. Still lives at 1247 Riverside Drive. Community held Appreciation Day. 300 plus neighbors attended. His quote, "This wasn't about me. It was about the 9 people before me who weren't heard. If my experience prevents even one unconstitutional stop, it was worth it." Authority without accountability becomes tyranny, but transparency without fear becomes justice. Marcus Williams didn't need aggression. He needed knowledge, documentation, and a system willing to act. When it didn't just fire one officer. It transformed an institution. If this story moved you, do 3 things. 1. Share this video. 2. Subscribe. 3. Drop a comment. Have you been stopped without reasonable suspicion? Was Patterson's termination justice? What's the most important lesson? What needs to change in your community? Your engagement matters. These stories spread because people like you care about accountability. Thanks for watching. Thanks for caring. Thanks for being part of the conversation that makes justice possible.